Alrighty. Hello, yogis. Welcome to yoga. We're going to do some gentle flow, a little bit of hatha in this practice where we're doing a little bit of a heat building flow. Nothing too crazy, but enough to make sure that we feel that energy in the body. As far as props go, as usual, I'm recommending to have blocks or books handy, and then also a blanket is nice. A blanket is nice to pad yourself up. I'm sitting on mine right now. And it's also good to use under the knees for some of the postures that we're going to do through the practice. So that said, let's go ahead and get started. Like I said, I'm on my blanket. I like to sit on the very edge because then I get that little interior pelvic tilt here where it tilts it forward a little bit, and then I get that length in the back body so my spine is a little bit taller. Let's go ahead and shut the eyes down, and we'll turn the palms up into a state of receiving, and just tip back just slightly. So when we tip back slightly, we find that we're getting that head in line with spine, and right away we're engaging in the abdominals, setting ourselves up for our practice. Drawing a nice deep inhale in through the nose. Part the lips and exhale it out. Inhaling. Exhale to arrive in your space. Again, inhale. Fill the entire body with that life force, with that prana. Inhale, hold just a tiny bit more. And open mouth, exhale, release. Let it all go. Turn the palms down now, embracing the knees. And let's just spend just a few more moments just with our regular breath, checking in, just feeling how the body is doing, how the mind is doing. On that next inhale, let's drop the chin down towards the chest, keeping shoulders rolled away from the ears. Still that light engagement in the belly, so we're nice and tall in the spine as we breathe into the back of the neck. Very slowly peek up towards the sky, open in the chest, open in the throat. On that next inhale, let's bring the head back to neutral. And on the exhale, we're just going to drop the right ear over towards the right shoulder. Keeping right ear towards the right shoulder, just dip the chin in, peeking over to left shoulder. Keeping ear still over to that right side. Draw a line, peek up towards the sky. Get this nice opening into the throat, into the side of the neck. Take one more deep inhale here. And on the exhale, release the chin down towards center. Hold for just a moment, reset. And then gently bring that ear over to the left side. Reminding that shoulder to stay down and away from the ear. And that spine still tall. Ear is still towards that left side as we dip the chin and peek down towards that right shoulder. Take your time to slowly rotate the head up, peeking up, still keeping that ear over towards the left side. One more inhale here. And on the exhale, slowly release that chin back down towards the chest. Finding a little bit of movement. Just a few half neck rolls, half moons peeking from shoulder to shoulder. When you feel complete, go ahead and bring the head, stacking it up. Inhale, fingertips float up nice and tall. Roll shoulders down and away from the ears. Release that right hand down to the earth. Left hand stretches and reaches overhead. We're going to be here for a few moments, but we're going to do a little bit of movement here. So that upper arm is reaching, palm is facing down. Bend into that right elbow. Still keeping that arm reaching overhead, extend the elbow. Again, bending deep on the inhale. Exhale, straighten the arm, still keeping that arm up. Inhale, bend the lower elbow, reach and stretch. Exhale up. One more time. Bending deep into the elbow. Reach across the head with that upper arm. Roll the heart open and breathe here. Press into that palm onto the earth. Rise all the way up nice and tall. Float forward, coming down into a fold. When you find that comfortable edge of the stretch, go ahead and just find a little bit of shifting side to side. So we're just shifting the torso side to side, waking up that outer hip, and starting to give some love to the spine. Coming into stillness, take a nice deep inhale in. Feel the rise of the back body and exhale out. Walk the hands and come back up to seated. If you are cross-legged like I am, go ahead and swap out that less dominant leg into the front. Gonna do our little wiggle and shimmy and get comfortable here. Raise the fingertips up nice and tall, and then float that left hand down onto the earth. Extending that right hand overhead, palm is facing down towards the earth, and see if we can really make sure that that right hip bone is staying down. Bending into that left knee so we can extend a little bit more. Then raise up. Again, bend into the elbow, stretch and reach. Straighten the arm, come up. Again, bending, reaching. Rising up. One more time, bending the elbow, stretch and reach. Bring that thumb overhead, open the heart. Keep breathing here. Feel that connection of the sit bone onto the earth. Press into the palm, raise back up nice and tall. Taking that length with us, bow forward. Coming to that comfortable edge of the stretch. And then we can just shift a little bit side to side. Press into the palms and raise back up nice and tall. Draw the shoulders up towards the ears and release them down. Let's do that again. Shrug the shoulders up, release down. Inhale up, exhale to release. One more time, inhale, squeeze everything in. Exhale, release and let it all go. Couple soupy grinds, bringing the chest over to one knee and then the other. Now we're getting a little bit deeper into those outer hips and also starting to open up the groin area. Really leading with the chest. Keeping that head moving with the spine as we turn around and through. Next time that we're upright, we'll switch directions to the other side. Come on up nice and tall for a moment. And then we're going to come around onto all fours in our tabletop position. You're welcome to use that blanket to pad up the knees. And let's keep those blocks towards the front of the mat. When we meet in our tabletop position, let's right away start going into a few cat-cows here, a few rounds. Keeping knees stacked underneath the hips and hands underneath the shoulders. Rounding and dipping. Inhale as we round. Exhale as we peek forward. And just a few more times. Meeting me back in that tabletop position. We're just going to walk the knees as wide as the yoga mat. Shift the hips over towards that right side, and then we're just going to draw a circle, bringing the hips down towards the heels, up and around and through. Let's do this a few more times to the right. Coming down, coming across the body, and up, around, and through. So good for the hips, but also we start to aid in digestion by brushing the belly across the top of the thighs. And the next time that we're upright, we're going to switch the directions, coming over now to that left side, crossing down and rising up. A few more times in this direction. In this practice today, we're going to be working on our hips quite a lot. So right now we're just getting that synovial fluid so we can really warm up the hips, loosen them up. Coming back up to that tabletop position, walk the knees together, really together. One more hip posture here. So knees are together. We're just going to shift the hips over to that right side. Tick-tock them to the left. And then bring the heels down, or the hips down to the heels. Raise back up. And let's do that again. Shift the hips to the right, to the left, down to center. Raise back up again, right, left, center. Raise back up, and now we're just going to switch the direction, going from left to right, hips to heels. That should be a new name of a song, right? Or maybe a band, hips to heels. Come back up, over to the left. I'm getting an eye roll on that one, I know it. Over to the right, and then down to the heels. Last time, raising up, over to the left, over to the right, and then down to the heels. Let's stay here for a moment. You can keep those hands extended out front, or you can even bring them behind towards the heels. And if this child's pose is feeling claustrophobic and not right for the body, go ahead and extend the knees and find a wide-legged child's pose. Just spend a few moments feeling the rise and the fall of the back body as you breathe in deep. Feel the forehead up off of the earth. If arms are behind, bring them up and slowly come back up into that tabletop position. This is where we're going to use those blocks, having them on each side of the mat in the front. Extending the right leg behind. Draw it in and up. So you might just kick it up, or you might need to carry it up with that back or those hands to bring it up to the front of the mat. So just take a moment to kind of shimmy here back and forth. Now we're getting that lateral stretch and starting to get into the front of the hip flexor, as well as that lovely hamstring. Coming into center, let's walk that foot as wide as the yoga mat. So that big toe is still on the mat and those 4 toes are off the mat. Both palms are now onto the inside. So this might be just enough of a sensation into the groin and into that hip for that lizard posture, or there's a couple variations. You can step that back foot back a little bit further, but make sure that femur is staying right in line, like that hip and that heel are all staying in line. We're staying tall for this lizard. So if you want to use the blocks or stay on those fingertips, we're shining the chest forward and making sure that knee is stacking over the ankle. Take a couple breaths here. Should feel like a really good deep stretch, not just into the hip on the outside of that right leg, but also should feel it in the groin and also the front hip flexor of that left side. Shine the chest, keep breathing. Now taking that foot and bringing it back in line, so heel toe it so that it is in line again with that hip in the front. Go ahead and taking those blocks on each side of the foot, we're going to peel the toes up and shift the hips back, so we're coming into a half split here. Keep that toe nice and bright and shining up. Check in with those hips. I know I have a tendency to start to sway over to the right side, but see if you can keep that level and those hips square towards the front. Left hand is going to stay down onto that block or the earth. We're going to take that right hand and just bring it to the hip line for a moment, and then very slowly twist and open up here. We don't usually twist when we have the legs straight. So if this is feeling awkward at all, go ahead and keep the hand on the hip. Long, deep breathing. Release the hand down, release the foot down. Sole of the foot is back down and we're in this lunge position. Now we're still keeping that left hand onto that block or earth, and we're just going to twist open a little bit more now in this lunge position. Stack the shoulders and breathe deep here. Releasing the palm to frame the foot. We're going to step that foot back to meet the knee behind. Go ahead and tuck those toes underneath and walk the hands, one hand correct forward. Peel the hip points up and find a downward facing dog. Just notice how that right leg and that right hamstring and hip feels compared to the left. Let's pedal out the knees a few times. Maybe nod the head out. Finding some stillness, sinking the heels down and the head down. Peek forward. Then release the knees down to the earth. Walk the hands back underneath the shoulders. Taking that left leg back to bring it all the way forward. Might just have to carry it up here, and there's no shame in that whatsoever. Let's kind of shift a little bit to a little dance, a little surfing. How does this side feel different compared to the other? Is it more open and raring to go? Or is it a little tighter and cranky? Come into some stillness and walk the foot wide. So that big toe is staying on the mat and those 4 toes are off to the side. Both palms come into the inside of the leg. So option just to keep that back knee stacked underneath the hip, or you can step it back a little bit more. Using those blocks or keeping the fingertips down onto the earth. Stretch the chest up towards the sky. And breathe here. Check in what's going on with those hips. See if you can square them because they have a tendency, I always had a tendency to kind of shift to one side. But see if you can keep those hips towards the front of the mat. Take a nice deep inhale and an exhale. Heel toe the foot back to center, lining it up with the hip line. We're going to peel those toes up off of the earth and come onto the heel. Again, check in with those hips. Make sure that it's not swaying to one side. And don't lock out that knee. These pants are a great way to show it, but we want to keep at least a little micro bend in that knee. Staying tall here. And if you need more sensation in that back of the leg, you can always come down into a fold here with the nose towards the knee. I'm feeling pretty good right here today. All right, we're going to find that twist, but first taking that left hand to the left hip and just peeling open. You can stay here, or you can bring that hand up above the head. A lot of balancing going on, as well as stretching. Release the palm down, release the toe down. And we're going to twist once again. This should be a little bit of an easier twist now. Taking that left hand or right hand still down on the earth. Raise the right hand up. Keep the shoulders stacked and make sure that knee is not traveling out to the side. We're really pressing into all 4 corners of that front foot. One more breath. And on that exhale, release the palm down. Walk that foot back to meet the knee behind. Hands step forward, tuck the toes, bring those hip points up, downward facing dog. Pedal out, nod the head. Cautious of any props that are in front of you. Let's just start to walk the hands and the feet at the same time to meet in the center of the mat in this fold here. For this first fold, let's go ahead and walk the feet a little bit wider. That way we can get that traction of hanging down here. It might feel good to sway. Might feel good to bend into the knees. Another option is to interlace the fingertips and bring it down to the base of the neck. We're not dragging or pulling the head down, but it's just a little reminder, a little extra gravity here. If you have bind at all, release the hands. And very slowly, we're going to ragdoll the standing. So take your time, shifting side to side. And rolling the shoulders down and away from the ears. Expand the hands out to the side. Feel that flush of energy. Really feel the feet grounded onto the earth. Keeping the feet wide. We're going to come into our breath of joy. So if you just want to watch me for this first round, and then go ahead and join me. So I'm going to lean forward, coming all the way down. Hands are going to come up a third of a way, out, up, and then release. So we're going to do an inhale as we raise up, inhale as we take it out to the side, Inhale as we come all the way up, and exhale, bend the knees and release. Inhale, 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 exhale. Inhale, 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 exhale. Two more times. Raise back up, and then release the hands along the hip line. Feel that joy from the breath and that energy in the body. All right, inhale, bring the fingertips up. Exhale, melt all the way down, forward fold. Halfway lift, flat back. Tuck that chin in. Take a couple breaths. Bring that belly button in and those shoulders away. Exhale, release all the way down. Bend the knees and come all the way back up to standing. Gentle the palms into heart center. Inhale, fingertips raise up. Take a hold of that right wrist with the left hand and dip over to the left side. We're going to grow a little bit more into side body, taking that left foot behind the right foot and step open a little bit more to the side. I think I said that wrong, so that right foot is actually behind the left foot. Come back around to center, release the clasp of the hands. Let's do that again. Extend the hands up tall, taking a hold of that left wrist, dip over to the right side. Step that left foot behind the right foot. Look at a little curtsy lunge here, opening in the side body. Feeling the heart and the chest open. Should feel good to get into that front hip flexor, into the IT band, and into the psoas area. Release and come back around, and release the clasp of the hands, and fold all the way down into our forward fold. Half lift again, and then release the hands all the way down to the earth. Step back, downward facing dog. Shift forward to plank, and then lower all the way down to the belly. So we're going to do a little bit of a back strengthener here. Taking the hands, we're going to create a little pillow in front of the forehead. Pressing firmly into the tops of the feet, raise the head up off of the earth. Let's tick-tock over towards the left side. Center, over towards the right. Center, over towards the left. Center, towards the right. Center, left, center, right. Release the head down. Take a breath here. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders. Tuck the toes underneath and come into a cobra. Or up dog, yogi's choice. Tuck the toes underneath, raise the hip points up, and come into downward facing dog. Bend the knees, peek towards the front of the mat, hop, skip, or jump, and come all the way to the front. Forward fold. Half lift, flat back, melt down. Bend the knees and press up high mountain, and then gentle the palms into heart center. Stepping that left foot back, lining it up with that front right foot. So we're coming into warrior two. We're either dissecting that back arch of the foot with that front heel, or the heels are lining up here. Sink down into warrior two. Take a nice deep inhale and exhale out. Inhale. And exhale. Put a bend into the elbow and come into extended side angle. Stretch and reach the hand overhead. And then come back up again into warrior two. Step that back foot forward about one step. Straighten the front leg, lean forward. And then we're going to come down into our triangle pose. We're going to be switching these up a little bit in just a moment here. I just want to get all of our alignment going good before we start switching it up. Bend the knee and come back again into warrior two. Hands come to the hips, pivot the toes and turn them to the long edge of the mat. Bowing forward for a moment into a half lift. Now release the palms down, nice wide-legged forward fold. Let's just shift a little bit to the ball of the foot and then to the heel. So we're just doing this little tiny rocking movement. Getting this good stretch into the back of the leg. Now turn the toes so they're facing out, heels are towards each other. Hands come to the tops of the legs, so we're right here on the top of the knees. And we're just going to start to shift a little bit, doing a little dance side to side. Very slowly start to shift so that you're standing up. Take your time. Turn the toes so that they're facing forward. Palms come up, 5-point star. Keep that belly button in and the shoulders roll down the back. Now we're going to come into warrior two on that opposite side. So now that left foot is forward and that right foot is back. So we're facing towards the back of the mat. Bend into that knee slightly more. Gaze over the front fingertips. Go ahead and place that elbow down on top of that front knee and extend the hand. Stack the shoulders here, extended side angle. Little modification on this. Engage in the core, come back again into warrior two. Step that back foot just up one step. Straighten the front leg, lean forward, and cartwheel down into our triangle. You can always use a block right here on the inside of the ankle or on the outside. Bending into the knee, coming back again to warrior two. Pivot and turn the toes so that they're to the wide edge of the mat. Hover in a half lift. Melt down, forward fold. Turn heels towards each other, toes out to the side. Take the hands to the top of the knees. You can use the hands here, or if you feel like you want a little bit more of an opener, just bring the elbows to the inside of the thighs. And again, do a little dance, side to side. Keep breathing and keep feeling into the body. Hands come to the top of the knees. Slowly wind all the way back up. Turn the toes so that they're facing forward. Hands come up, 5-point star. Release the hands down. Turn the toes, and we'll step to the front of the mat. Inhaling up. Exhale to melt and release down. Find a halfway lift with our flat back. Melt back down. Place the hands onto the earth. Step back. Downward facing dog. Shift forward to plank. Lower all the way down to the belly. Creating that little pillow again. And if this is too much for your back, if you're not feeling that back strength, you can just keep the hands onto the earth and find this little sway side to side. Otherwise, we're going to keep the head onto those little hand pillows, raising up. This time coming over to the left. center to the right, center, left, center, right, center, one more time each side, over, center, over, center, release down. Take a few breaths here. Maybe turn the toes towards each other, heels out to the side to release lower back. Walk the hands back underneath the shoulders and come into a back bend of your choice. Tuck the toes underneath, raise the hip points up, downward facing dog. Bend the knees, peek forward, hop, skip, or jump, the knee at the front. Half lift, melt down. Bend the knees, come all the way up, tall mountain, gentle palms into heart center. Right foot is forward, left foot steps back, coming into our warrior two again. We're gonna switch this up a tiny bit here. So finding that warrior two. Now we're going to find our extended side angle again, but I'm going to kind of walk us through it. So first bring the elbow on top of the thigh. So that forearm is here. Now we're slowly going to bring that hand to the inside of the leg, holding here. Upper arm is stretching and reaching, where we're either stacking shoulders or we turn the palm and stretch and reach overhead. Wherever you're at, keep breathing. So bending into that knee, we're going to swoop up to our warrior two for just a minute, and then we're going to reverse our warrior, bringing that left hand to the back of the left leg. Keep bending in that front knee. Keep breathing. Building lots of strength in the body. Getting this beautiful side body stretch. Come back again into warrior two. Step that back foot forward, just about one step. Straighten the front leg, lean forward, and then we'll cartwheel that lower arm down. So we're gonna open up a little bit more into the shoulder. You can stay right here in your triangle, or we're gonna bring that hand down to the lower back and towards that front hip. So we're bringing that left hand to the right hip. Peel the heart and the chest open here. That front leg is straight but not locked out. Keep pressing into the pinky toe of that back foot. Using all that core strength to bend into the knee and come back again into warrior two. Hands come to the hips, pivot the toes, wide edge of the mat. Bend halfway, hover. Lower all the way, wide-legged forward fold. Shift forward to the ball of the foot, and then the heels. Do that one more time. It's not a very big movement, but you should feel it. Walk the hands so that you can come into a flat back, so walk them forward. Then walk them back in line with the toes. Turn the toes out to the side, bend into the knees. Yogi's choice to either keep the palms right above the knees or coming down onto those elbows. Keep that chest lifted, and we'll find that shimmy shake side to side. Really giving those hips a good workout, good stretch. If you are on those elbows, go ahead and bring the hands up to the top of the thighs. Take your time to raise all the way back up, and then turn the toes so they're to the wide edge of the mat facing forward. Fingertips come up, 5-point star. We're gonna go straight into that warrior two on that other side. So pivot that left foot and find that alignment coming into warrior two here. Bend the front elbow, place it down to start with on top of the leg. Then straighten the leg, not the leg, excuse me, the arm, and come into that extended side angle. If we want more, turn the palm and bring that hand overhead. Keep bending into the knee. Keep breathing. Go ahead and start to sweep up into warrior two. And then that back hand comes along to the back leg, reverse the warrior. Back again to warrior two. Walk that back foot in by one step, straighten the front leg, lean forward, cartwheel down, triangle. Taking that upper arm and finding bind by bringing it around to that front hip. So that right hand is coming around to that left hip, and we're pressing the chest open. Keeping that knee straight but not locked out. Tuck that chin in a little bit. Find where it feels good to gaze, whether it's up, neutral, or down. But that chin stays tucked slightly so we can protect the neck. Bend the knee, unwind the arm, come back again to warrior two. Hands come to the hips. Turn the toes, wide edge of the mat. Shift forward, half lift. Melt down, forward fold. Turn toes out. Hands come to the top of the knees. This is the last time. Shimmy and shake side to side. And we're just going to stay in this wide position where we start to heel toe the feet together. So we're going to come down into Malasana, into our yogi squat. If that is not okay for your body, then just stay tall here and continue to kind of dance into the shape. If you're coming down to Malasana, start to lower down. And heels may not come all the way down to the earth, and that's just fine. I'm going to use my elbows to press the knees, press the thighs open, and then that chest comes back and the sternum comes to the thumbs. Keep that tailbone sinking down, but we're pulling up on that pelvic floor. And if you are still standing, that is just fine. Just continue to move in ways that feel good. Coming into our garland pose, we're just going to release the palms down and tuck the chin in. Walk the hands behind the back and lower the bottom down to the earth. Bringing the feet around, kissing the soles of the feet together. Knees are out wide to the side. Hands come to the shins, and we're just going to shift the body forward and back a few times as if we're in cat-cow here. Rise back up, taking a hold of the back or the side of the knees, bring the knees in towards each other, take the arms out into a wide T, and then we're going to just tuck into a little ball here, rounding the back, tucking the chin down, and feeling the breath into the body. Rising back up. Let's come back around into our tabletop position. One more posture on each side from our tabletop position, and then we'll come down to our back side. So we're going to work to strengthen the shoulders a little bit more here. We come take the hands together and the elbows down. So we're finding our dolphin, a little dolphin variation. But we're holding on, clasping the hands here, our elbows and forearms are down to the earth. Walk the knees so that they're closer to the elbows. So this way we're going to get into the hamstrings, but we're really working on strengthening the shoulders here. So tuck the toes underneath and then raise those hip points up towards the sky. So this is a modified down dog, but we're going to move through this a few times. So release the knees down and then come back up. 2 more times, nice and slow. Lower the knees down, then raise the hip points back up. 1 more time, lower the knees down, and raise those hip points up, and let's hold here. Nice deep breathing. Keep that tailbone up. Widen those elbows if you need to. Keep squeezing into the palms. Lower the knees down to the earth. Release the hands and come back to that tabletop position. So let's get those shoulders stretched out a little bit. Bring that right hand up. Draw it across the body and thread the needle and sink down. Hand extends forward on that left hand, or you can find bind here by bringing it around to the hip, just like we did in our triangle. Walk the hand back by the face and release that arm up. Get a little bit of wiggle and movement in there. And then hand comes down. Let's do that on the opposite side. I was going to add some more dolphins, but let's just go ahead and just get a good stretch here. Cross the body, thread the needle, and bring that head down to the earth. Find that option that's working for you with that right hand, either extending it long in front or finding that bind, bringing it back towards the hip. Bring that left hand in line with the face, press into the palm, and release that hand. Find a little bit of gentle movement, and then back down. All right, let's come around on to our back side. Coming down, bringing knees into the chest, snuggle and squeeze them in here. Holding onto the knees, one hand on each of the knee. We're just going to draw some circles, bringing the legs all the way out and then in towards each other. So the legs come out, big wide circles, still working in those hip joints. Now reverse the direction. And squeeze the knees into the chest once more. Now release the feet down. We're crossing that right ankle over the top of that left knee. Taking a hold of the left knee at the back of the thigh, guide this figure 4 shape into the body. Keeping both feet nice and flexed here. I'm going to use that elbow on that left side, or excuse me, right side, to press the knee open just a little bit more. See if you can relax the shoulders down onto the earth. And let's draw a few circles here. So we're taking that right knee over to the side and back. Squeezing that back in towards the body. I'm just going to start to bring those knees towards each other and taking a hold of the knife edge of the feet. So finding the shoelace pose, bringing knees in towards the body. Not holding the breath. Very slowly unwind the wrap of the legs And bring them down to the earth. All right, opposite side. So now I'm crossing that left ankle over the top of the right knee, flexing the foot, and then guiding it into the body, taking a hold of the back of the thigh on that right side. Using that elbow to press the knee away from the face and opening just a little bit more. Notice if you have any tension in the shoulders. See if you can relax them down. Notice if you're holding any tension in the face. See if you can relax and smile. Starting to draw some circles, bringing those knees away and around. Should feel good. Finding any of those little spots we haven't quite gotten to yet. And also a little massage for the sacrum and kidney area. Coming into stillness here, we're just going to cross the legs a little bit more, taking a hold of the feet. If this is not accessible, you can just hold on to the knees here. So finding our shoelace pose here, a reclined shoelace. Bring those heels in towards the body. The hips are very dense with muscle and tissue, so we'd like to give a good, long, deep stretch to release the tension in them. And gently unwind, bringing the legs down for a minute. All right, let's find a twist before we find our final relaxation pose. So pick up the hips and just slightly bring them over to the right side of the mat. Allow the knees to cross over and relax down to the left side. Taking the arms out into a T or a Y shape. Finding the head position that's working for you, whether you're peeking over the shoulder or keeping the head upright. Breathe into the belly. Go ahead and start to unwind. Coming back around to center, centering the hips. Then pick up the hips, press into the feet, and walk the hips over to that right side of the mat or left side of the mat, and then allow the knees to waterfall over to that right side. Arm position of your choice, whether they're in goalpost or Y shape. Nice deep belly breaths. And over these next several breaths, start to unwind and come back around to center, center hips. Yogi's choice here to either bring the soles of the feet together, knees out to the side, or you can find that reverse by bringing the knees together and the heels out into this TP shape. Or that other lovely option is just to extend the legs long towards the base of the mat. Finding these last few moments together, a beautiful Shavasana. Feeling the magic of our practice in the body. And deepening the breath even more. Start to gently nod the head side to side. Find some gentle organic movements, rolling out ankles and wrists, wiggling fingers and toes. Bringing the body back to this present moment. Extend the hands overhead, point the toes to the base of the mat. Stretch and reach, 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 reach. And exhale, let it all go. Bend the knees, rotate to one hip or the other, and relax down into our fetal position. Maybe taking a moment here to realizing something that you cultivated on the mat today. Maybe it's something that you'd like to take with you off the mat. Press that top hand into the earth to support the body as you slowly press yourself back up to seated. Take your time to arrive. And when we arrive, coming into the seated position, let's just go ahead and roll the shoulders up towards the ears and relax them down. Guide the hands into heart center. And I'm just going to rotate the palms so that I can bring the fingertips around. Perfect, creating this backwards grip. And then just slowly rock this back and forth a few times. Should feel good in the wrists. And then hold it for just a moment here. Bring it back around and release the hands, shake them out. Pressing palms together, Anjali Mudra, bringing the heart to the thumbs. Close the eyes down. Inhale in and exhale out. I seal this practice today with so much gratitude and love. Thank you for joining me and sharing your practice, your energy, and your time. Namaste.